right, well, we are going to be having a conversation on some alternative methods of job hunting in 2016. And, of course, involved in that conversation is the story of a young man, 28 years old, who had a very unusual way of looking for a job. The great news is that, you know, him standing on the street with a placard asking for a job actually has landed him a job. So sitting next to me here in the studio, Patrick Muthomi, welcome to Power Breakfast.
Thank you.
It's good to see you. And, of course, his brand new employer as of beginning of next month, Darshan Chandaria, Group CEO and Director of Chandaria Industries. Welcome to Power Breakfast. Now, Willis, I don't know how much you've come at in your life.
I know, it's quite the interesting story.
Yeah, Patrick's you know, story went viral, and it has a happy ending, which many people are happy about. And I know we've read quite a bit about it, but maybe we can just, for everyone who doesn't know your story, why is it that you decided that this was the method of seeking employment that was going to work for you? And maybe you can tell us how long you'd been unemployed before you had that thought.
Honestly, I cannot say that it's the best method for me to use to find a job, but it is one of the last resort that I resolved that I must try this one. Because the normal way of finding a job, that one of sending CVs through online, through hand copy, has failed me for now 2 years down the line. And I came to realize now I must try now something new. I must work inside my mind and see what is the best remaining for me, so that I can secure a job.
Yeah.
A dream of every graduate, because in fact when you finish maybe like a degree course, you expect that you get a job as quick as possible, because you have been investing in education for almost for the last 16 years.
Yeah.
Now, when that becomes desperate for you, you don't feel very good, and unless you don't use your mind well, you cannot just sit and just watch things as they pass, and you see you are aging. You have other things to do in your life. So I decided now that because I have tried these other means of sending CVs through online, in fact almost every company in Nairobi and the other counties. So I came to realize that it is not paying. So I decided now I made some meeting with my body organs, that is mind and the soul, and asked which is now another available way that I can do. So I resolved it now, because those who have jobs have been advertising, both in the print medias and in visual medias, that they want people to apply for these jobs.
Yeah.
So I said, now this one has failed me. Let me now try to advertise now myself. I see whether this one will work.
Yeah.
Of course, it looks something very unique, and somewhat it may not work to an average-minded person. But I decided that I must try this. So that is when I decided. I went and prepared that placard.
It cost you at 1,200.
It cost to be around 1,200 plus another some cost. It totaled like 1,500.
Right.
Just here in town. So, and I decided that for me to display that placard, I must go to Ambessa Highway. And this is a super highway, where actually there are very many vehicles, where I will meet very many people. And in my mind, I thought that within the process I might meet a CEO like this, driving a car. I might meet someone who is maybe a human resource end of department. So that is why I decided that. And I went to Muthaiga. And now, when many people saw that plaque and raised, and I never put very many things there to read, because again, when you are driving, you don't have that time actually
to read.
Yeah, to read very many things. It was very simple. Please give me a job. Who is this? Patrick Muthomi with these qualifications. And the number was there very big, 0728, so that everyone can see. So that, yeah, it was now very easy, in fact, for almost everyone to see, take snaps, maybe take photos, and I came to realize I never expected that people would put it to social media and the thing will go viral.
Yeah.
But I came to realize that now I have become public. I have went public now, and people know. When I received the first call after that minute of displaying that placard, that is when someone told me, I have seen you in Facebook. So I don't know what. I'm already reached the Facebook.
Yeah, and we'll talk about some of of the many responses that you got quite quickly in just a minute. I want to know how Dashan got to hear. Did you actually physically see him? Were you driving? Is it somebody who gave you a call from your company? How did you?
Yeah, so it was actually, you know, a team member of mine who came in, you know, said, "Sir, look, there's something here on social media. This could be something that, you know, you do a lot. You know, help people out a lot, and is there something we can do for this gentleman?" So we picked it up from there. I had someone in my team call him the same day. You know, and we're trying to just fix a day and time that worked for us to meet. Because I mean, that's really what we try and do a lot of, you know, try and help and transform as many lives as we can whenever we get the opportunity to do so.
Right.
And did you you know, it was very interesting because like you said, there are so many people who are calling. You know, what was like your first impression when you saw the picture? Was you like, this guy is crazy, or this is brilliant, or what was the first?
You know, I said, one, this guy is very committed and dedicated to getting a job. He's very innovative as well, to have gone out and, you know, done something like this. But what was really in the back of my mind was, what would push someone to this extent? Right? I mean, the internet is at our fingertips on our phones. There's so many recruitment agencies out there. There's companies looking for people all the time. But I think what really struck me was, this guy really needs a job, and if he's gone to this extent, somebody needs to do something to help him. Somebody who really can manage to do something, you know, should, you know. And I just picked it up from there. I didn't look back. I picked it up. I didn't look back.
Yeah, it's become a huge story, obviously. But Patrick, I just want to come back to you and ask, what were your expectations? Were you hoping that it would just get you a little bit of attention? Were you hoping that maybe you would do that for a couple of days? I mean, what were your realistic expectations at that time? Did you actually think that I'm going to get a job out of this? Or was it one of those things that you said, let me just try it and see what happens?
Surely, I knew that, because at first time I prepared a very good, in fact, a very durable billboard, that placard. It was very durable, so that I would use 3, 4, 5 days. It was not a thing that I was to use one day and then that is. Because I never knew when I would get this blessing call. Because I knew one day, within this week, I must get a call that would be offering me a job. So in my mind, I was expecting that I will go today in the morning, I will go in the evening in another highway. Tomorrow I will come back here until the day someone would see me. I never expected that very many would in fact start calling, or the thing will went viral just immediately that same day. Because if it were that, then maybe I could prepare something very not very durable. But that banner was very durable, by the way.
So you had planned on staying there until...
I was to use it several days. But I came to realize that now, only that morning, in fact it was a game of only 2 hours.
Wow.
And that was it.
Yeah. Okay.
And you know, we read, like when you're speaking to our e-daily team, you talked about 1,000 calls and over 600 messages. How did you
sit through that?
Go through all of that?
I had to ask my wife for a phone, because my phone, my battery could not, because I was receiving calls continuously. In fact, I had to leave all other things and sit down somewhere for that day. Sit down somewhere to receive those calls, to receive those messages. In fact, the calls were overlapping each other. As I was speaking, another call came and went. That a missed call. Missed call was many as more than 800, in fact.
Wow.
When I scrolled from my caller. I can remember on Friday evening, because it was on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday evening, my caller was leading. The received calls were 1122.
Wow.
That is 1,122
Wow.
received calls.
Wow.
Messages were 601. Missed calls were more than 100, 800. So that is my Friday evening, and they continued calling and sending messages. I never expected that such a thing would happen.
So were they good? Were some people, were they all good, positive feedback? Was it just, or some people were just like, keep going, be strong?
I only got 3 negative, I can call them negative calls, and the 2 SMSs. One of them told me that, hey guy, what are you doing? Are you mad? Go first, go and finish that is CPA up to section 6. Then come and we'll give you a job. Stop disturbing people here. But majority of those calls, other calls that I received, some were encouraging. I love your mind, I love your creativity. In fact, even some people sent me money. I received the money from Italy. I received 2,000 from Italy. I received 500, many 5,000 from Canada. Another guy said that he is in Boga from Canada, and that he is coming in Kenya next year to launch his campaign for president. I don't know how serious that was, but he gave me 5,000. They told me, Patrick, I love your mind. When I come to Kenya, I will like to meet you in Nairobi, so that we are going to work together.
Well, it's an incredible
don't say all the figures you received.
But honestly, majority of those calls were encouraging, and the majority of the SMSs were you send the CV, send your CV to this to this email.
So Darshan, again, something that Patrick is saying is there are some people who thought this is a little bit mad. And do you feel like, as an employer, do you feel like we've moved away a little bit from the traditional methods of seeking out jobs, as in just sending the email to whatever, sending your CV rather to whatever public email is available out there? Do you feel like we've moved away from that a little bit?
You know, I'll tell you, as an employer and as an executive, sometimes we don't get involved in the positions we're recruiting for. It's left to our HR teams, it's left to, the specific department head to look at things, and you'll obviously look at someone who matches the requirements in terms of academic qualifications, in terms of experience, etc. So this would be quite a special case, because for Patrick, his passion is in selling. I mean, he sold Chandari Industries products for some time as well, and he was happy to carry on doing that. But I said to him, look, you've spent money and time investing in yourself, developing yourself. You need to pursue your career, you need to pursue what you studied, and that's basically, CPA. Even though he's only done about, I would say about 60% of his CPA, we want to make sure that he continues with his education. But I think the main thing here is these kind of stories, I think, to catch the attention of executives and decision makers, the real decision makers, it has to be some innovation. I must say, whether it's standing on a highway with a placard, or something that pops up on your social media. It has to be something that's not the ordinary method of sending a CV through email or going through a recruitment firm. It has to be something, I think, a bit more creative now.
And another thing I think to note here that's important is that not all executives take a personal interest in employees or future employees or what have you. You've mentioned that you want him to continue his education, and maybe you can talk a little bit about how important that is for you in this case.
Yeah, absolutely. So myself, I'm a young executive. I'm only 30 years old. I feel like my education days were just yesterday almost, and many times. Education is very important from a perspective of giving you a framework to be able to structure your thoughts, to be able to deal with situations in an organized, coordinated way, and to have some theoretical knowledge on how to deal with a variety and dynamic array of situations. I think it's critical, at least, also to give you some discipline. It's critical. It teaches you to be an all-rounded person. So I would definitely, encourage people out there to carry on their studies, do whatever it takes to complete their studies. But nothing matches up to the real experience.
Right.
The real world experience, the real world scenarios, the real world challenges, and the real world decisions you have to make. Nothing can teach you how to deal with those situations.
And what about, like, what you look for? I mean, there is also that argument that as much as the individual might come with a CV,
yes.
but for lack of a better word, the implementation of the CV, in terms of you'll say you're good at this, you're good at this, you're good at this, but like you say in the other relation, how do you relate with people, what is your attitude towards work and all that, how does that factor in? Is it just my CV says I have a master's from Harvard, all right, good, you get the job? How does that work?
No, absolutely not. I mean, you're absolutely right. Look, CV can say 5 pages of wonderful words, wonderful statements, wonderful qualifications, but for us, and for us as a group, we are always looking for commitment. We're always looking for somebody who's innovative, open-minded, and somebody who is willing to listen and be a team player. That's what we're looking for. Certain skills can be taught. Sales skills can be taught. Financial skills can be taught. But the qualities I've just mentioned can't be taught. It has to come from within oneself.
Right.
Right. Patrick, you are a father, and you have a wife as well, who I understand when she saw what you were doing thought that maybe you're a bit mad as well. How is she taking everything now, the fact that you're starting a job next month as an accountant at Chandaya Industries? What's her feeling right now?
Initially, that first day, that evening, the evening of of Tuesday, when I take that Placard to my room, my wife could just laugh at me. In fact, he saw that this is funny. This guy decided to become an actor. Now you have decided to put your pictures in the Placards. What are you going to do with this? I told her that. I have decided to use this method to find a job. So he wondered, and in fact he made a lot of fun with me. But that same evening, my mood was very bad to her, because I never wanted the stories. I never wanted we socialize too much about that, because I have something ahead of me tomorrow morning. I'm doing something very, 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 very unusual. So the next morning, I wake up, so that when she saw that something good might come from all this, she started saying that this guy, in fact, he might be thinking. And now she became happy. And when I broke the story to her that I've been contacted by Chandaria men that I will go on Tuesday for an interview, and they have decided to offer me a job. So he never believed. She never believed, and she that I could. He said it true, and they said it possible that through this method, really you can secure a job. But that Tuesday, when I came and told her that the group CEO, Mr. Dashan Chadaria, has offered me a job, and they are afraid the employment letter, she became very enlightened. In fact, she was very happy, and now she's looking forward to see me starting a job on the 1st of September. No, she has now seen that trying things, no matter how awkward they may look around, they may bring something good.
Right. All right. And of course, also there's the question about, just like you said at the beginning, these things don't necessarily get the attention of executives, right? And so that brings to the, like what then attracted you to this? Because the whole issue about, like, his life definitely is now transformed. What attracted you to get this? And do you think that then, as much as there's such a busy schedule, that from time to time leaders often need to kind of come and check what's going on and see if the employees are happy, and see if, like now Patrick wants to start being an accountant, will you from time to time pass and say, hey, how are you doing, what do you think? To give some honest feedback as well. Yeah,
sure. Look, to answer the first part of your question, when I looked at Patrick's case, apart from all the hype there was around social media, etc., he demonstrated the personality traits, the qualities that we look for. He demonstrated commitment in looking for a job. He demonstrated hunger to grow and do something more with his life. He demonstrated innovation in the way he went to communicate to Kenyans that I'm in need of a job. And he demonstrated open-mindedness. When I finally met him, he was open-minded to the opportunities at Chandari Industries. He was, he was open-minded to the various journeys his career could follow. And I personally am very hands-on with my operations. I like to know what's going on. The reason I sat in that interview was to make sure that I firsthand understood what he was looking at doing, what his qualifications were, and what his life path looked like from his perspective. I wanted to hear it firsthand so I could make a decision. We spent a good 2 hours talking to him, good 2 hours explaining with various people from my sales team, various people. My CFO was present as well finally, because I felt that he had made the investment already to follow a path in accountancy. So I said, my CFO must be present to understand exactly where he would fit in, what kind of guidance he needed, and the fact that he probably needs to study or carry on studying at some point. But I agree with you totally. Sometimes with all these board meetings, strategy sessions, looking at the bigger picture, trying to understand where your business is going in 1, 3, 5 years, you sort of sometimes lose what's happening at ground level. You lose what's happening on a day-to-day basis. So it's sometimes a very, very good way to go and ask you guys what's going on. Are there issues? Have a pulse of the day-to-day operations for sure.
Yeah, I think to state the obvious here, there might be people that Patrick has inspired who might be thinking of taking to the streets with a placard. I don't know how unique that idea is going to be at this point, because we've already seen it, but Patrick, what do you have to say to people who are where you were just a couple of days ago in unemployment, thinking, what do I do next? Not necessarily that they should emulate you, but what would you tell that person who might be watching?
Another thing I came to realize is that we have a very big number of young men and women outside there who are jobless, in fact, and they have very nice papers. That is the thing that you see, when you are alone in your house, and maybe someone like me, and I have that qualifications, I at some point I think that I'm alone who is jobless. My 2014 class has already gotten jobs, but I came to realize that we have very many people outside there who are jobless, in fact with very good qualifications. I've received very many calls. Some would say that they have up to section 6, others would say they have even masters and they have tamaked for 2, 3 years. And that even some would even joke that because I saw that you are going to the citizen breakfast, power breakfast, when you reach there, just call my name, just say my name, just that.
Somebody might be watching.
And I could think now that how different that will make. But anyway, people are outside. There are very many of them, desperate, who are jobless. I would like to tell them this before I forget, that yes, some miracles may not happen, especially under the sun. That someone might come one day to your room and they offer you a job. You will in fact be required to do 1, 2, 3 things, like waking up, prepare that CV of yours, prepare your papers, move from one company to another, from one office to another, from one kind of account office to another, and within that process, and with the players, because I believe in players, maybe you will have someone to listen to you, at least, if not two. So I would actually like to, as I've been, that let someone do something. Mine, I went to the street. In fact, I cannot advise someone to go to the street. You can use another method to communicate, because that is one method of communication.
And maybe for you, Dashang, as well, like you said, there are so many people who have gone through all the qualifications. I mean, they have, like you said, there's somebody with a master's who is even saying they don't have a job. So there's that problem, of course, of unemployment. But then what do you think people can do, from where you sit, 30 years old, an executive, to stand out? Like, what do you think they can do to stand out so that they have a better chance at, getting employment?
Now, it's a very good question, because I think in Kenya, we don't have the most organized and structured recruitment processes yet. Even though we've had traditional recruitment agencies, we've had online recruitment agencies now, you know, come in and use technology, try and make the process quicker, easier to screen candidates. We really, as executives, also sometimes find it hard with our HR teams to understand why certain positions stay vacant for a month, 2 months, when we know that there's people out there. I mean, I, with my family, support over 35 education institutions across Kenya. When I go to these institutions, when I go and look at their graduation ceremonies, when I go and listen to them and interact with their students, they're very, very young, bright people. So one of the things we've done as a company is we now proactively go out, set up base on campus from a very early age. You know, you'll find that we're talking to second-year students, third-year students, so that when they're finishing, they know what kind of qualifications we're looking for, what kind of personality traits we're looking for, what kind of experience we're looking for. So we are actually going to them more so now. And I would encourage a lot more corporates to try and, you know, catch these guys, try and interact with them before they finish. Because what tends to happen is then they have an idea of what they need to achieve, they have an idea of what their path looks like, and they start thinking about employment after studies. But once they've finished, once they've graduated, and then they start hunting, and you know, after 6 months, a year or so, you've heard Patrick's story, if they don't find something, they become disheartened. It drops their morale, it's very, you know, they lose self-confidence. So I think it's also about employers and people in positions who can make decisions to do so, to go out and proactively engage with people, not just wait for recruitment companies and not just wait for CVs to, you know, come in through our emails and land on our tables.
Yeah, I'm sure there's quite a bit of feedback on social media. A question that I did see someone asking Patrick earlier was whether you still have the same phone number. I don't know how busy your days are these days, but I'm sure there's lots of people still trying to contact you. Do you have the same phone number?
Yeah, that is my phone number. That is
Okay.
my, like, 7 years phone number.
Okay.
I've never changed it, and I cannot change due to the mere fact that I have gone public. So I use that because I'm not a prominent person, so I actually cannot change that phone number.
Right.
They have been calling, in fact, and they are still calling.
They're still calling.
Let them know that now I have a job.
Yeah.
Whoever wanted to offer me a job, then I can say thank you. And now, unless if someone can ask me to connect him with someone, some another jobless person, because I have many. They have asked me to those offers that I've received, and which I'm not willing to consider. And there are very many. I connected them, I send them, so that they can see what to do with them.
Help someone else out. That's something.
Just to add something to what you know, and the previous question. When I sat with Patrick the first time I met him, you know, he mentioned to me he received a lot of phone calls, but people were again just asking him to send in his CV. People were asking, you know, about what his qualifications are, what his work experience is, and I feel again, you know, with the amount of attention he's received, I just felt like he needed someone to sit with him, understand his story, someone to give him, you know, an ear to speak and give him a chance. And that's why I said to my team, because the initial response of, you know, some people in my HR team was like, okay, but shouldn't we get his CV in first? Shouldn't we go through our screening process? I said, this is not going to work. If you see somebody out there with a placard in their hands, I am sure they've sent their CV to hundreds and hundreds of companies, and it's not worked. So we need to get him in front of us, we need to listen to him, and we then need to, you know, make a decision about what we want to do.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of feedback coming in on Twitter. Tundungu 2010 says an inspiring story. Well done, Mudhomi and Dashan, for offering him a job. And then great that you offered him a job. God bless you. Hunting can be frustrating. That is at CEA at Tieno. At Team Kimutai, or Vincent Kimutai, says congrats to my classmate for securing himself a job. You can job Vincent Kimutai. All right. Patrick is really encouraging. Hard work pays. Love the creativity. That is on. Wow. Okay. I keep trying to refresh as in.
Lots
yeah, they keep coming back.
There, yeah.
So there are other questions as well. Somebody says, well, actually, like what we're talking about, having papers is good. At the interview, they need you to have 30 years experience, and you're just 25. Then also, there are people saying Also, somebody actually asking about people who are less fortunate and guys with disabilities, if they get an equal opportunity. I guess, I don't know, as an employer, how that works.
Yeah, sure. I think we don't look at age, gender, ethnicity, disabilities as a main criteria to a job. Obviously, if you're looking at a job within the factory where someone needs to be mobile, somebody needs to move around, due consideration needs to be given to that. But like I mentioned, we're looking for the main qualities around commitment, hunger for growth, innovation, honesty, open-mindedness, and that's the real criteria we use. I mean, at Chandari Industries, people will be surprised to know that if you look at my senior team, Tier 1, most of them are actually under 35. I really believe, you know, in the youth. I'm really trying to build a young team. I'm really trying to give people out there who show me those qualities an opportunity to excel, an opportunity to be in a very senior position at a very big company.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you both for coming, Darshan, for giving Patrick an opportunity and showing people out there that, you know, with some hope and some ingenuity, finding a way to stand out, to sell your story, to sell your personality, that these great things are possible. Patrick, congratulations once again.
Thank you.
And, you know, we hope to keep in touch and see how things are going.
Thank you.
And make sure you continue the education.
I do my best here. With my CEO here. You see, he's a good man. I must work with him so that he can grow me.
Yes.
That is very important.
That is the right attitude.
Okay, all right. So we are going to wind up Power Breakfast for this morning. Of course, on behalf of Fred Indimuli, who was with us a little bit earlier on the news review, myself, Joey Mutengi,
and Willis Aburu, who reminds me that successful people look like you, and of course the great Manchester United.
We will definitely catch you again tomorrow morning bright and early here on Citizen TV. Have yourself a fantastic day.